Today, we're going to talk about a woman that drove up to a church and started shooting at 4 people working in front of a church in Louisiana. Now, we have a lot of new people to the channel. If you're one of them, one of the things that we do is we talk about incidents that happen at churches, and then we talk about what you can do to protect yourself and your church. Now, with all that said, if you're not a Christian, you're still welcome to be here. You'll learn a lot of tips and tricks to protect yourself in public venues and just in general. And I think it'll help you. So go ahead and hang out. Let's go ahead and let's get into this specific incident. Okay, so yesterday, Wednesday, around 2:30, a woman named Nicole Kilcrease, 39, of Melville, Louisiana, was charged with 4 counts of attempted second-degree murder, 3 counts of reckless operation of motor vehicle, 2 counts of resisting an officer, never a smart move, 4 counts of illegal use of a weapon, 4 counts of discharging a weapon in a firearm-free zone, which I believe is a church, and shocker, possession of drug paraphernalia. All right, so they stacked the charges on her, but she did something pretty bad. So let's talk about what occurred. So Kilcrease allegedly fired at 4 people who were doing lawn work at the church. Nobody was injured. She didn't hit anybody, and she fled the scene right afterwards, driving erratically, and police got her 35 minutes later and took her into custody. Now, according to police, she violently resisted, and the police are saying the church is not to be the motive of this event. So probably what happened is she was mad at one of the workers out front, rolled up and started engaging them out front, although no motive has been released about why she decided to shoot up the church. With that said, we need to be a little bit more aware because these shooting incidents have been increasing. This is the second shooting at a church just this week. Earlier, a pastor was shot in the face. He is in critical condition. You can go ahead and look at our video about that one. The pastor was shot in front of his congregation. There is a GoFundMe for him. I'll put that link in the description below because it's important for people to give to him. He's in a lot of trouble right now. All right, so now we're going to break down what you can do for your church to avoid similar incidents. This didn't occur when church was in service, but obviously it affects the church. The first and foremost thing you need to do if you're working at a church is to be aware of your surroundings and pay attention to what's going on here. It's obvious something bad was going to happen. She stops in front of the church. She gets out. Obviously, you should just start paying attention to it, not be paranoid. And when she pulls out that gun, the first thing you should do is seek cover. The first thing one of the men did was pull out his phone so he can take a picture of her. Look, don't worry about that. Put your phone down. Go seek cover. At the end of every video, I always have my famous saying that I say at the end of every video. I think it's super important that you pay attention to the end of the video because besides being alert, that's the next best thing you can do to protect yourself. You should always do a security assessment at your church and look at what you can do to make your church safer. As an example, I was at a local church recently, and they're a very large church, and I could literally drive a car through the front windows. If I would, like, instead of her shooting at those people in front of the church, what if she drove at the church? The church I was visiting, you could easily drive through the front glass doors, drive into the lobby, make a U-turn in a car and just start running everybody down. There are no ballards in front of the church to stop a car from doing something like that. So do that security assessment and see what you can do to make your church a little bit safer. Surveillance systems are always good if your church can afford it. Surveillance systems help us identify people like this shooter. Here, it sounds like those men might have known who she was. If they didn't know who she was, those surveillance systems could pick up a license plate, vehicle description that would help police find her. Access control is always super important. You're going to want to make it so that if she started shooting, if she decided to move into the church, that there is no way for her to get inside, or the only way for her to get inside is through doors that are monitored by armed security personnel. And last but not least, I always say it, make sure that you liaison with your law enforcement agency so that you guys can all be on the same page and be worried about threats. The single most important thing outside of situational awareness, though, is to remember your ABCs. Always be caring.